Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ashley. I'm talking about the new Natasha Denona Sunrise palette today, and she is a beauty. Okay, so I think we all like hit the floor when we saw the releases and the pictures of the new Sunrise palette, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. I talked about it on my Will I Buy It video, and I was like, yes, I want this palette. And I was like, I want the palette, but I was prepared. I was like, I'm prepared to pay $120. I was like, I have some Sephora gift cards. I got my Ebates money back, and I actually turned that into Sephora gift cards. So if you're not signed up with Ebates, like, what are you waiting on? And I will leave my link down below. So please sign up with Ebates. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to pay $120. It is what it is. But she came through and she showed us the palette, and the price point is $65. So happy, okay? So let's talk about this palette. We have the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, and you know, before we had the Sunset palette, and I actually do not own that palette. It came out when all the warm palettes were coming out, and that was back when I just really couldn't justify or finagle me away to get a $120 palette, because my Pat McGrath palettes, I have definitely finagled away and got it at some type of discount or all the way discounted to get those palettes. So here's what the outside packaging looks like. It is giving me all the feels. It's metallic, it's beautiful, it's orange, it's giving me blood orange vibes. I just think it's so pretty. So once you turn it on the back, you have all the ingredients of each shadow, and you know it's Natasha Denona tends to give all of her shadows a code with the letter at the end kind of describing what the type of shadow formula is. Like DC in Awakening is 232 DC, meaning like dual chrome, okay? The palette is made in Italy, and it's paraben free, and once you open it, it's good for 24 months, so that is beautiful. And the palette is 15 shadows, and you have 19.25 grams or 0.67 ounces. And so true to form, this is what the palette looks like, the actual palette. Oh my goodness. And I know it's super reflective right now off of my ring light, but it is so pretty. And then you have in this lilac color, it says Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. And then also on the back, you have these little pinholes where you can kind of pop the shadow out, and it'll become a single. So that's kind of cool if you just maybe wanted to take a couple shadows with you on a trip and put it in a Z palette with another couple shadows, maybe from her line or another line, you'll be able to do that. And so once you open it up, you have this big, wonderful mirror that you can see everything with, and then you have the 15 colors, and this is what the palette looks like, and it is gorgeous. So I'm so happy that this palette is cost $65, and the reason why it costs $65 is because it's actually less product in the palette. So I actually only own one other full-size Natasha Denona palette, which is the gold palette. So this is the holiday release that came out this past December, and here's it in comparison to the Sunrise palette. So you can see the difference right here. I know it's super reflective. So I am very glad, like, the price point is $65. I think brands are finally listening to us, because we just don't need all that shadow. And when you open it up, you find that you have a lot of shadow, and I will hold it up against the regular Natasha Denona palette, which seems to have 2.5 grams of product in there. And that's generous, but when you have a high or a superior formula, or you're marketing that your brand has a superior formula, and then you're charging a lot for it, times 15, times whatever, how many shadows in it, we don't need to pay $129. So $65 is a great $65 is a great price point for a palette. I mean, it's still super expensive. I mean, like, let's keep it real. It's expensive, but $65 is definitely a lot easier to swallow than paying $129. So the palette is actually available now. I picked mine up from Sephora. It was a little bit of drama with the palette. You know, there was a site in London called Feel Unique that had the palette. I think it had the palette like almost before Memorial Day, and they said the palette was available now. But I was like, oh, I'm ordering. But then I was like, girl, no. Like, what is that shipping going to be? And then I was like, you need to just wait. It's going to be in the States. And then I said, oh no, I got Sephora gift cards. So I'm definitely using my Sephora gift cards. And then once I found out the palette was $65, I'm definitely using my Sephora gift cards. Because I think I only paid about $30 for the palette. Or $20 or $30 or something like that. Remaining out of my pocket for the palette. And so the palette was actually released on June 3rd and the Sephora online, Natasha Denona online, and Beautylish. And then it had a hard launch in the Sephora stores on June 6th because trust me, I called on June 3rd and I was just trying to see if they were going to let me get it, you know, but they're like, no, hard launch, June 6th. Okay, got it. So I'm going to go ahead and demo a look for you guys with this palette. I'm sure you guys see many videos going on. I really want to do 3 looks, but I don't know if my eyes can take it, just to be honest, okay? So, and I've been doing that a lot lately, and I think they're so much fun, but I just don't know if my eyes can take it. So it might just be one look, and I might just come back on camera and play with the palette again. I did play with the palette earlier today, and so far, so good, okay? So let's go ahead and get into some swatches because I'm sure you guys are eager to see what this palette looks like. And then let's go ahead into the demo. Okay, so the first shade we have is called Poppy. And this is a beautiful shimmer shade, just beautiful. The next shade we have is called Citrine. It's a beautiful yellow shade. And then the next shade we have is Phlox. And this is the color I wore today. It's almost like a red orange. It is beautiful. It's almost like the color of the actual outside of the palette. That's Phlox. So the next shade we have here is Awakening. Then we have Laurel. It's beautiful also. These shimmers are so pretty. Then we have Aster. This is a beautiful purple with blue glitter reflex. It might be a little hard to see because of my lighting. The next shade we have is Glory. A beautiful purple fuchsia matte. Then we have Azalea. Just a beautiful reflective color. Then we have Morgan. And this shade, I'm happy to say, is actually very pigmented. It does show up. The next shadow we have is Agate. Just a beautiful, soft yellow gold. Then we have Clove. Beautiful, dark purple color. The next shade we have is Carnelian. It's beautiful as well, my goodness. The next shade we have is Jasper. Beautiful burnt orange. Then we have Morning. It's a beautiful, it's kind of like an eggshell color. A little bit more peachy vibes, but still neutral. And then the next shade we have is Day Spring, which is beautiful as well. Gosh, Day Spring is so pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and re-swatch Citrine because I didn't have my mirror. Usually I can see the reflection of my swatches in the mirror because I tilt it forward. But yeah, that's a mess going into Poppy. Here is Citrine again. There we go. A lot better. And these are the swatches. Okay, so let's get going. I have my eyelids primed with, I'm like, why am I clapping? I have my eyelids primed with the Too Faced Multi-Sculpting Concealer in the shade Butterscotch. My makeup details will be down in the description box, but I just want to let you know I'm wearing the Juvia's Place foundation. Ooh, I like it. Okay, so I really don't know where I want to go with this look. Okay, so I got my Wayne number 16 Big Fluffy Blending Brush, and I am going to go in the shade with the shade Morgan right here as my transition. And I'm just going to put that right there. And like I said, this shade actually shows up pretty well. You can build it up, of course, but once you start building it up, it doesn't even take very much to build up. It shows up. I'm like, yes, praise the Lord. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw that in the crease. And above the crease. And that is looking pretty good there. Next brush I'm going in with is my Sonia G Worker Pro brush. It's a little stain from that Oceanic palette, but I have wiped it off thoroughly, so we are good to go. I'm going in with the shade Clove, and I'm going to pack that on the outer V. And that, as you can see, is really pigmented. And I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit more and place it up there in my outer V. And then I'm just going to slightly pull out the edges of that. And then also tap a little bit of more color in there, going kind of into the crease, but I'm not picking up any additional color. I'm just going to kind of have it gradually fade in. And I'm just going to bring it up a little bit higher, so when I look dead on, you can see that outer V color. Going in with my Sonia G Crease Pro brush, I am going to pick up the shade Jasper right here, this pretty burnt orange. I'm just picking up just a tiny bit, and I'm going to start where I left off with Clove, and then bring that in the crease. And I'm going to kind of blend it a little bit upwards like I normally do, so when I lay down that shimmer shade, or whatever shimmer shade I go in with, it will show up. And this color is so pretty. It reminds me of a matte version of Phlox, just a tiny bit, but it reminds me of the packaging. So I have that there. Now going in with my Wayne Goss number 18 brush, I am going to pick up the shade Carnelian, because I just want to really pack this in my inner corner. And I just really want to see what this looks like. Ooh. This shade just reminds me of the sun. It's such a pretty color. And it's nice because it shows up. You know, just intensifying that shade right there. Now going in with my Sonia G, this is the Builder Pro, I'm going to take the shade Poppy, and I'm going to place that right next to that shade that was called Clove. Right there, and I'm just going to build that up. It's so pretty. Don't even need to wet it. And I'm just kind of bringing that in towards the other part of the eye, but I'm not going to fill in the blank between Carnelian and that color because I'm going to put in another color. Now I wiped that brush off, going in with that same Sonia G Builder Pro, taking the shade Day Spring. And I'm just going to fill in right there. And blend it into the shade Carnelian. And then I'm going to fuse it with the shade Poppy. This is a beautiful golden shade. It's like, even though I have these shades, it's like I don't have these shades. Does that make sense? Now I want to go back in one more time with Poppy. Same brush, wiped it off. It's going to re-intensify that. Going in, Sonia G Blender Pro. You know what time it is. We got to make sure our stuff is blended out. Making sure we're looking fused. And I'm going to do the other and be right. Okay, so I'm back and this is the final look. I think it came out so pretty. This palette, if you haven't heard me say it already, I think it's so beautiful. The colors are gorgeous and everything just works so well. So granted, first impression, I have not used all the shades. I usually do like 3 looks. Well, not usually, but as of lately, I've been trying to do 3 looks for you guys. But I've used at least, let's see. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have used 9. I have used 9 of the 15 shades between the demo today, the demo right now, excuse me, and me wearing the palette earlier today. And I have not had a problem with it at all. The formula is so nice. It's so buttery. I would say that the palette is a tiny bit dusty, but I think it's just the pigmented and that's just really the more of the mattes. But I think that Carmelian is so pretty and it actually shows up. And it doesn't take a lot of packing for those particular shades to show up. So I actually feel like this formula is actually superior to the gold palette because like mustard, I was really, or Dijon, it's called Dijon in here, yeah. Dijon in here, I was really just hoping it would show up a little bit better. It does have good color payoff on my complexion, but it could just be a tiny bit more pigmented and show up a little bit better. But I did not have that issue with Carmelian. I didn't have that issue with Morgan. And those are some of the lightest shades in the palette. And then you do know that like oranges and yellows are very hard to formulate. But I'm really digging this orange-ish melon Carmelian. It's like a mustardy, melony mango shade. Yeah, mango is kind of actually a good analysis for the shade. Mango, it's a very mango color. And then Citrine is beautiful, and Morning and Morgan are beautiful. Dayspring is beautiful. Poppy and Phlox. Phlox I love. I wore today all over the lid and it blended out so pretty with a little bit of Morgan, and then I had Glory and I used Jasper, but it just blended out so well. I think these shades are beautiful. They pair well to each other. I think this is a palette that you can get a lot of use out of. All the shades are pretty. You get multiple looks. You can go softer. You can go more punchy. You can go more red. You can do more orange. You can do yellow. So you do have quite a bit of options. I like that there is no brown. I like that is no true gold shade, because if you think about the Sunset palette, there was brown, there was gold, like just straight up gold. And although those colors are beautiful, we've seen them before and we have them in that other palette if you happen to own that other palette. Now I don't, but I have plenty of gold, I have plenty of brown. I don't need it. And then I like that it gives you clove to deepen the crease, and it's a deep aubergine purpley plum shade. Well, aubergine is purpley plum. So, but you get what I'm saying. And you have that magenta more matte in there also. And I think she just did an excellent job with the color combinations, because it's like I said before when I was doing the demo, it's like I have these shades, but I don't have these shades because the shifts are very unique. The formula is very unique. It's very easy to work with. You don't have to use much effort to blend out the shadows. You don't have to use much effort to get pigmentations. So I think that this is going to work on such a wide variety of skin complexions. It's just, I think it's just well done. It's well planned out. And this actually makes me more excited to see what Natasha Denona is going to bring out in the future, because especially if she stays on this track. She stays on this track with a 15 pan palette. This particular formula, because from my understanding, she kept playing around with the formulas and they were like very hit or miss. Like I know a lot of people had issues kind of even with the Safari palette, and that was all matte. So the formula was just, but, and then sometimes the shimmers can be, now the gold palette is a great formula, and I think that this is just maybe even a little bit more of an improvement upon the gold palette. So if she stays in this ballpark, stays in this lane with this 15 time palette setup and this price point, because we just don't need all that product, I think she's going to hit it out the park. She is on the right track. And when I think about this palette, I feel like this is like an updated version of the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. And at that time when Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette came up, I just pulled it out right here. This is one of the first palettes of this type, you know, it's kind of cool. It has some warms, but it definitely has a lot of fiery reds and oranges, purples. It has a lot of those same shimmery shades there. So if I was just to hold up both of the palettes, you probably just really grasp what I'm saying. Here we have purpley shades, and we have some softer goldy shades, and then here we have purple shades and soft golden shades. We definitely have duochromes in this. We have duochromes in this one, purple duochromes. We have gold duochromes in here. So, and then we have the fiery tones, and we have the purples, and we have the purple reds and the brick oranges, and we have more so like the reddish shades where we have Blood Moon and Turkish Delight. Of course, we do have a pressed pigment in here. This is Cosmo, but Huda definitely has all the browns. This is a 21 pound palette, but then it's even funnier than I thought about it. I was like, oh man. So this palette actually reminds me of the Desert Dust, but I was like, Huda girl, this retails for $65. And the formula compared to this doesn't even hold a candle to this. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. I still feel like this is a beautiful palette. I will still use it, but I feel like the formula is definitely beautiful, because I just feel like in my heart that there's just Blood Moon and Turkish Delight for me. I love those shades, but you know, this formula is so nice, and the price point is finally at a place where people are more willing to try the product. And especially when you have Huda and her retails, her palettes always retail for $65, and that's a nice chunk of change to spend on the palette. But if the formula is not up there, now her formula isn't bad, but it's not the best. It can use a little work. So, you know, I think she has a winner on her hands with this. And from my understanding that this palette is, I believe, permanent. So you don't even have to rush out and get it. So you can wait for a sale, wait till you want to see some more reviews. Just think about it if you really need it in your collection. But overall, I'm really excited about this palette. I think it's gorgeous. I think I'll be able to use it all summer long. I think I'll be able to wear it. I know I'll be able to wear it to work in a lot of different occasions. And I think it's just going to go well with my complexion. I think it's going to go well with darker complected people, lighter complected people. I think it's just going to be an overall, hands down, great palette in addition to your collection. So my first impression, I like the palette, and it's getting a big thumbs up from me. I will come back with my final thoughts and let you know what I'm feeling and my true thoughts on the palette at a later date. But overall, like I said, my first impression, it is great. So please give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And then please subscribe to my channel, because you know I would love to have you here with me and my little beauty family. And I will leave my link down below for Ebates. So like I said, and I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I used Ebates. I had like $30 or so from Ebates as a gift card. Yeah, it was like $38. The tax is so high in Chicago, so it just didn't even seem like it, because I still had to pay like $30, even though I had like $45 in gift cards. But tax is like almost 11, maybe 12%. City of Chicago, crazy. But sign up for Ebates down below. You get the cash back at basically every major retailer. If you have not signed up, please sign up. If you don't feel comfortable using my link, sign up anyway. Go to their website, because you get $25 for referring a friend. You get $25 for yourself. And it's just a win-win situation, especially if you're buying makeup. Ulta is on there. Sephora is on there. Beautylicious is not on there, but there are other makeup brands on there. Macy's is on there. a lot of different stores. LifeLock, Home Depot, Travelocity, Priceline. If you shop, you need to be shopping with Ebates because, oh, and Lyft. If you take Lyft, you get like 25 cents per ride. Can't beat that. So sign up down below and I will talk to you guys later. You know, I have another video for you very, very soon. And I'm going to hit you with my chair dance. Bye.